All Fall Down, an Embassy Row novel by Ally Carter. I have actually read Ally Carter's books before. I've read her Gallagher Girl books, and it was actually very interesting. So Ally Carter does more of a spy mystery books. I'm in on this book. All Fall Down, an Embassy Row novel, basically is in Adria, and it's basically in the Mediterranean. So it starts off with Grace. So Grace hasn't seen her grandpa in 3 years because she would go all the time with her mom during the summer, and her brother. You meet Alexei. He is Jeannie, Amanda's brother's best friend, and they grew up together. And also Alexei is from Russia. He lives in the embassy right next to Grace. As time goes on, later on that night, you meet Noah. He is from Israel. He takes her to a gathering up there. So Noah takes her up there, and he asks, "Where do you think we are?" China, Japan, Canada. We're in Iraq. And he's like, yeah. Actually, what Iraq did was they sold the land back to Adria, but the embassy is still in Iraq's name, but it's abandoned. That she meets her other next door neighbor, which is Rosie. She's from Germany. There's a girl that comes and says to Rosie, "You have to go, you're not supposed to be here because if something happens, it's a international incident with say Rose goes and does something off a tree and hits the Chinese ambassador's daughter." Grace actually stands up to the girl. Her name is Lila, and Grace is like, no, she's allowed to be here. Lila and Grace end up getting into it. A girl Grace knows, Megan, comes and is like, "Grace, you're back? I didn't know you were back." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm back living with my grandpa." Noah comes back from getting them water, and Noah says, "Oh, I see you've met my sister Lila." Lila goes to try and basically get into a fight with Grace, but Rosie comes as Rosie takes her scarf, basically going back and forth. Megan's like, "Just give it here," and Rose is giving it to Megan. The wind takes it, and it goes on Iraq's embassy flagpole. Grace goes down and gets it, but while she's going back in to get it, she sees a guy that has a scarred, she calls him the scarred man because he has a scar on his face, and she's like, "He's here? Why? How is he here?" Megan texts Alexei, and Alexei comes and basically gets Grace, and then Grace gives back Lila her scarf. Next day, Miss Chancellor gets Grace up. They go to the palace for the ball, and the princess says that she knew Grace's mom because they grew up together. So what happens is that Grace learns a little bit of the history of the palace, then hears these voices talking about something about someone's going to kill somebody, and she's like, "What?" And she goes farther, and she sees that it's the scarred man, and there she gets all pale, and she goes, and Noah finds her, and Noah takes her back to Miss Chancellor. Miss Chancellor says, "Take her back to the embassy," or "Take her back home." So Noah does, but Grace leaves without him into the limo. And in the limo, there was a fire, and that's the night Grace's mom died in her arms. So she's reliving that. She gets out of the limo because she said stop, and then she goes up to a wall. Alexei finds her, and then she starts telling Alexei what happened. Now it's basically Noah. All her friends are scared. Alexei, Noah, and Rosie, and Megan, they're all scared. And so what Grace does is Grace goes and she kind of starts spying on him. Rose actually tags along, and Grace did not know that Rose tagged along. Rosie's like, "You're doing this all wrong. You need to do this, this, and this." Because they're following him. Noah and Rose are. Rose helps out Grace and Noah. And so what they do is they follow. One day it's raining, and she actually saw the scarred man in Embassy Row. So she follows him down into the tunnels that are actually underneath the city. She follows him for a good while until they stop, and she hears him talking to some person about something that's going to happen, and she runs out and she goes back to the embassy. And I got this at the library, and I thought this was a very good book. I'm in on this book. It was just kept me on my toes, so you're going to have to figure out what happens in this book. If I can get this to 50 likes, I will read the second book when I find it. Alright guys, peace out. You guys can persevere, do whatever you want, follow your heart, and do what you want to do. Believe in yourself. Never give up. Leave a comment in the comment section of what book you would like me to read next. Alright, peace out. Have a safe and enjoyable day and night.